Dr. Liz, Erev Tov, how
Salam,
are you?
Rav. Wow, Rav, we just returned today, this afternoon. Baruch Hashem, we were very lucky that we returned. A little bit worried we might be stuck there, but amazing. Rav, I'll tell you something interesting. In Bucharest, in Romania, there's a very long Jewish history. In many parts of Romania, a lot of Jews living here in Israel have their roots in Romania. And the head of the jury, Eli Weber, so he's fluent in Romanian. And there was another judge who's also fluent in Romanian. Anyway, so I could walk with my kippah very proudly. We didn't see any. I have to be politically correct. There's no we didn't see any Muslims walking around, and we didn't see any anti-Israel demonstrations or any Palestinian flags. So it's in Europe, it's not taken for granted today. Jews living in London, I don't know I don't know if you're aware, but there was a from guy with a kippah, and the police wanted to arrest him because he said, "You're causing a disturbance with your yarmulke." This was in London. He wanted to walk on Shabbos, in the city centre, the Jews who live there. But because he was wearing a yarmulke, they said, "You're causing a disturbance and a provocation." So these things you can't take for granted. But being in Romania and going to the different shuls and just seeing how proud the community is, although the community has really, it's gone down, it's shrunk quite drastically. There was a Rabbi Rosen, very, very well-known Rabbi Rosen, who was head of the Jewish community. He was a very well-respected Rav, Orthodox rabbi. He was in the Romanian parliament. He actually even came to Zimbabwe because in those days when it was under communist rule with Mugabe, and he spoke and he was interviewed, and I've got that interview. I'll send it to you. It was incredible. But Rabbi Rosen was a very proud Zionist all his life, and he encouraged Ceausescu, who was the president, to allow the Jews to leave Romania. So many Jews actually made Aliyah. It was the one country in the communist bloc that Jews could feel they could practice their religion and they could actually immigrate to Israel, which is really quite remarkable because in many other communist countries it was forbidden. So when you are proud of who you are, it really makes a big difference. And Rabbi, I must just mention, just before we're getting ready now for the Chag tonight and tomorrow, so there's Kikardenia. It's right near Beit Vegan, and it was quite sad. We had to do some shopping there, and you go out, and they've got this big plaza, and they've got a memorial to the Danish Jews that were saved, and there is a table with a Seder table with wine and matzahs, and then you've got all the pictures of of our hostages that unless there's a miracle and they'll be released, and unless there's a miracle and they're alive even, but they're not going to be celebrating the Seder with us. But we must never forget. We have to remember them. And I think all of us, it's incumbent on us during the Seder that we just speak about our brethren that are in captivity. They are in hostage. They are in dungeons. They're in tunnels. And the chag of freedom and redemption and let my people go, it's very, very real. And please God, Bezrat Hashem, there should be a miracle that just before the chag they will be released. And we don't even know how many are alive, but Bezrat Hashem, whoever is alive, they should come home safely.
Amen. I just sent a picture while you was talking that my daughter done on our Seder table, that we made also a place for all those hostages. If you look at it later, she prepared the table. My little daughter, she's not little, she's 20, but for me, she's still little. We prepared the Seder table already, and we left a chair with a plaque with the pictures of all the hostages.
Amazing,
so
amazing.
Just to show that we never forgot. It's good that you mentioned that because I just sent it on a group now, a few seconds ago.
Thank you, Rav.
Thank you, Dr. Lev. Shkoach for all your updates, and welcome back. Bruchim
Thank
habayim.
you, Rav. Thank you, Rav. Thank you.
Okay, Rabotai, I'm going to start the shiur. I especially start the show late to give you a chance for the Bdikat Hametz. We're going to continue with the Hagadah. Jeffrey, are you with us? Are you ready?
Yes, I'll just get...
Good. We're going to dedicate the shiur in a soul of Esther Kadem Bat Ketia, Mordechai Ben Rahma, Tamar Bat Zehava, איתן בן קרן ואבישי נאה, מלכה רג'ינה בת ג'ויה, יעקב סלומון בן פרחה ופרחה בת סלחה. לרפואת, now in health of all those that injured amongst the Israeli forces, among the security forces, all the Jewish people that need refuah shlema all over the world, in Israel and all over the world. Please God, we're going to dedicate the show in health of all of them. And amongst them, Lior Bat Miriam, Menashe Naji Ben Faha, Rav Moshe Ben Bayabati, Rav Moshe Ben Devora, Rav Shlomo Yehuda Ben Dalia, Rav Avraham Ben Marina, Devora Bat Esther, Shein Nakela Bat Hana, Mordechai David Ben Leah, Yehuda, Hillel Ben Shulamit Leah, Haim Nahum Ben Pesa Reza Kohen, Baruch Ben Sarah Hiena, Uva Kaden Bat Tali Esther, Leah Bat Rachel, Pesach Yitzhak Ben Ela, איילה עדן בת רבקה, נטלי מלכה בת שרה רבקה טל, יהודה בן אליעזר, מאיר בן אליעזר, אריאל בן שילת, אורי בן יעל וחנניה שלום בן אביגדור. Please God, רפואה שלמה to all of them. So we reach to צאו למד. I would like to start with that. צאו למד. מה ביקש לבן הארמי לעשות ליעקב אבינו? שפרעה לא גזר אלא על הזכרים. ולבן ביקש לעקור את הכל, שנאמר, ארמי עובד אבי, וירד מצרימה, ויגור שם במתי מעט, ויהי שם לגוי גדול, עצום ורב.
Okay, sorry, Rav, I'm just opening it to it.
It's about the Lavan, the Aramite Lavan the Aramite. That's what we're going to speak about.
Okay, yes. One second. Right.
Straight after Vihisha Amda.
Yes, I've got it.
After. Se'u lemad.
Yes. Right. Let us look at the Torah and see the kind of dangers that God saved us from. Yaakov had to deal with Lavan. It was even more dangerous than Paro. Paro ordered that only the baby boy should be killed, but Lavan had tried to destroy Yaakov's whole family, as the Torah says. Lavan, the Aramean, tried to destroy my father Yaakov. After that, Yaakov went down to Egypt and stayed for a while with just a few people. And there he became a nation, great, strong, and big.
Did we ever ask ourselves, what does Lavan have to do with the Hagadah? Did you ever ask yourself? Lavan HaRasha, what does he have to do with the Hagadah? Did you ever ask yourself? Lavan was before the time that Bnei Israel gone even to Egypt. So what is the connection of Lavan into the Hagadah? That the Hagadah tell us that Lavan actually planned all what he already planned to do to Yaakov Avinu. So there is here a great hidush that I heard, and I would like to share it with you. That means Lavan was a great sorcerer. Lavan was a great magician. He knew, okay, in his sorcery, that Rachel Imenu, his youngest daughter, that if she married Yaakov Avinu, all the 12 tribes going to come from her. And who's going to be the oldest? Yosef HaTzadik. If Yosef HaTzadik going to be the oldest, not going to be jealousy amongst the brothers, when Yaakov Avinu going to make for him the garment with the stripes. Why? The Kitonet Pasim. the garment with the stripes. Why? Because the older always deserve a bit more than the rest. הבכור תמיד מקבל יותר. Okay? So what's happened here? Lavan said, how I'm going to cause problem in that family? He came with the idea that he's going to give Leah before Rachel. And Leah going to have a child. And the child that Leah going to have, he's going to be the firstborn, not the firstborn of Rachel. And he knew that Yosef HaTzadik is going to be the best one that he's going to love. Why? Because Yaakov Avinu loved Rachel. If Yaakov Avinu loved Rachel, obviously the firstborn that's going to be born to her, he's going to love more than anyone.
Yeah.
Said the Parshim something extraordinary. What did they say? They say like this. They say, by that he swapped Leah he swapped Rachel with Leah, or he brought Leah before Rachel, he caused so much havoc that's what brought us to go down. Why? Because the brothers become jealous of Yosef. Why? Because Yaakov Avinu made him the extra stripe on a garment. They was jealous of him. And that's they sold them where? To the Ishmaelim. And then to the Midianim. The Midianim back, the Midanim to the Ishmaelim again. And then to Egypt. To tell you that all the reason behind our forefathers, our Bnei Israel, that means Yaakov Avinu and his kids that gone down to Eretz Mitzrayim, to blame who? Lavan. That he swapped Rachel with Leah. That instead of allowing Rachel to marry Yaakov Avinu, and then they'll have Yosef HaTzadik as a Bechor, and then not going to be any jealousy amongst the 12 brothers. What he decided to do? He turned everything upside down. He planned everything to make sure that cause a havoc in the house of Yaakov Avinu. And Hazal tell us something extraordinary. Kasha, very difficult. קשה תרבות רעה בביתו של אדם יותר ממלחמת גוג ומגוג. חז"ל in the Gemara tell us that it's difficult for a parents to see that there is anosmy, hatred, all kind of, how you call it, dividing amongst the brothers and the sisters. It's worse than a war of Armageddon. What do we learn from here? It's come to teach us. That's what Lavan wanted to destroy. That means that the decree that Lavan put, it's worse than Paro. Why? Because Paro said every baby boy that born, kill him. But he didn't make the decree also on the go. Here, Lavan didn't care about no one. Lavan wanted to destroy the fathers, the mothers, the kids, everyone. He wanted to annihilate the entire Jewish people. He wanted to annihilate the descendants of Yaakov Avinu. That's what was hiding behind it. And that's how it's connecting to the Hagadah. Because of Lavan, that's why we gone out down to Egypt. That's why our Bnei Israel, we have to go to be in slavery in Egypt. Then it says, if we finish that, it says, ויראו אותנו המצרים ויענונו, ויתנו עלינו עבודה קשה.
After that, Yaakov went down to Egypt. He was forced to go by God's command and stayed for a while. This teaches us that our father Yaakov did not go down to Egypt to settle there, but only to stay for a short while. As the Torah says, Yaakov's sons told Paro, we have come to live here for a while because there is no grass for our sheep in the land of Canaan, since the hunger is very bad in Canaan. So now, please let us, your servants, live in the land of Goshen.
Okay, and this verse we see, I didn't want to speak about that, but Jeffrey already read it, so we're gonna explain. And a pshat of the dvarim, the next one, Jeffrey, ויראו אותנו המצרים בעבודה קשה, that the Egyptian made us work in hard slavery.
Okay.
That's what it is. So what did we read here? It said that Yaakov Avinu lechatchila needed to go down to Egypt, but he needed to go down with handcuffs. In the olden days, they didn't have a handcuffs. So Chazal say, Yaakov Avinu, במדרש זה, היה צריך לרדת למצרים בשלשלאות של ברזל. What it means בשלשלאות של ברזל? It's a handcuffs. In the olden days, they used to cuff the hand with change, and they used to tie it to the legs, and they used to make a heavy ball so a person can't run.
Ball
like
and
they show
chain.
you in the movie. Sorry?
It's called a ball and chain.
A ball and chain. Ball and chain. Thank you. And that's what Yaakov Avinu he needed to go down to Egypt. Chazal say in the Midrash, Akadosh Baruch Hu done everything that Yosef HaTzadik gonna go first to Egypt, gonna become a king, and then when Bnei Israel had to go down to Egypt and to bring down Yaakov Avinu, they're gonna actually respect Yaakov Avinu, and Pharaoh gonna send his own chariot to welcome who? Yaakov Avinu.
Yaakov.
Why? To Eretz Goshen. Why דווקא Eretz Goshen? Okay? ועתה ישבונה עבדיך בארץ גושן. Why דווקא ארץ גושן? Why not another land? Why דווקא ארץ גושן? What I listened to das Hidush. Paro, the first Paro that took Sarai Menu, okay, he didn't know that she married Avraham Avinu. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, listen, she's the wife of Avraham Avinu, immediately he released her. Not only that, he given her the land of Eretz Goshen. HaKadosh Baruch Hu already prepared and paved the way that he knew that later on the children of Abraham are going to go down. The grandchildren going to go where? To Egypt. He knew that it's going to happen. Paro given the land of Goshen to Sarai Menu. That's why Bnei Israel gone dafka to Eretz Goshen and not another place. And that's why we're saying here, although that it was a great famine in the land of Eretz Canaan, they didn't go into any other city in Egypt, dafka Eretz Goshen, because Eretz Goshen already been given to Sarai Menu. Okay. ויראו אותנו המצרים ויענונו ויתנו עלינו עבודה קשה.
Okay. The Egyptians were bad to us. They made us suffer and made us do hard work.
Okay. What is the hidush? We knew, I mean, everyone knows that the Egyptian was horrible to us. What's the hidush here? I don't understand. What is the Hagadah try to tell us? That they was horrible to us and they put us to hard slavery. What is the hidush here? So on a pshat of that Dvarim, we can say, yes, that they wanted to basically, what they wanted to do, that they wanted to put us to slavery. That's all. You know, they wasn't interesting to kill us. Okay, but there is another hidush here. Vayareu. It doesn't say that they was hard to us. It say vayareu. What it mean vayareu? Said the Mefarshim that the Egyptian, they the one that caused the children of Israel, Bnei Israel, all the deterioration, okay, until they worship idols. Why? Because the Egyptian at the beginning loved the Jewish people, okay? So slowly, slowly, the Jewish people start to assimilate with the idea. They start to absorb into worship idols. Okay? They didn't done Brit Milah. They stopped doing Brit Milah. Who have the influence on them? Said the Mefarshim. That they was bad to us. What does it mean bad to us? They're not only just the physical that they put us to slavery. It's the spirituality that they brought us down to the 49 level of Tuma. That was the difference. And that's what it said that it was so bad. Physically, it was very bad. But to bring us spiritually down, to make us idol worshippers, to reach to the 49 level of Tuma, that's what was so bad about the Egyptian. Now we can understand what the Egyptian done to us. And then it says, Vanitzak el Adonai, and we shout to the Almighty, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Avotenu, Vaishma Hashem et kolenu, Vayireh et onyenu, ve'et amalenu, ve'et lechatzenu.
We cried out to it.
Yeah.
We cried out to Hashem, the God of our ancestors. Hashem heard our cry, and he saw our suffering, our misery, and our oppression.
What's the Hidush? What is the Hidush that the Torah, that the Hagadah come and tell us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu listened to our screaming, to our shouting, to our crying to him? What is the Hidush? Say the Mefarshim like this. And the children of Israel, until they didn't lift up their eyes to heaven, nothing happened. And the moment that they realized that no one can save them from the slavery of Egypt, only the Almighty, and they cry to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu heard that, heard the suffering, heard the misery that there was, and immediately start the redemption. What is the Hidush to us? What is the Hagadah telling us? The Hagadah tells us that miracle doesn't happen to a person that doesn't deserve it to see it. You have to do your own personal effort. Ishtadlut atzmit. A person have to do a step towards the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like the Midrash say, Pithuli petach kehudo shel machar. Open for me a hole of a pen, you know, the hole that there is on a needle. And I'll open for you an opening as a hole. What is it come to teach us? Come to teach us something very important. The Hagadah tried to teach us that everything in life, we have to do the first steps. The rest, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gonna help us. Sometime in life, a person expects things to come to him, a work, whatever the point is, help, but he doesn't understand that he has to pick up himself and go to the doctor. Nachon that we have to daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nachon that we have to rely on the Almighty. But we have to show the steps. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to send us a decent doctor that can give us refuah. And that's the Hidush here. If you're not going to go to work, you're not going to get money. HaKadosh Baruch Hu not going to make you a miracle that suddenly you're going to see a tree that outside your garden that's bringing rand or dollars, whatever the case is. Nothing going to grow on a tree. No money will grow on a tree. The Hidush here is Vanitzak el Hashem Elohei Avotenu. When they shout, when they scream, when they lift up their eyes to the Almighty heard their voice, and then he redeemed them. That's the Hidush here. And that's applicable to us. We want redemption. We want to be saved. What do we have to do? To lift up our eyes to heaven. And that's the Hidush here, Rabotai. The Hidush here that the person has to understand that we have to do our own personal efforts. And then God will help us. But first, we have to do the first step. That's the Hidushim. Now I'm going to move, I'm going to skip a bit, and I'm going to go Ve'avarti be'eret Mitzrayim, and I passed in the land of Egypt in that night. ועברתי בארץ מצרים בלילה הזה, והכיתי כל בכור בארץ מצרים, מבכור אדם ועד בכור בהמה. בכל אלוהי מצרים אעשה שפטים, אני השם.
Sorry, V'yotzeinu Hashem b'Mitzrayim. Is that where you read?
No, ועברתי, and I gone to the land of Egypt, and that night, and I passed that night, and I went to Egypt in that night. After וזרוע נטויה, ויוציאנו, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out of Egypt. Can you see that?
V'yotzeinu Hashem b'Mitzrayim, yes.
Yes, straight after that.
Al Yedei Malach.
Yeah, read it that. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
And Hashem took us out of Egypt. He didn't do it through any kind of angel or messenger. God himself took us out. As the Torah says, God said, I will go through a land of Egypt on this night of Pesach, and I will strike every firstborn in Egypt, people and animals, and I will break all the Egyptian idols. I am Hashem.
What's the Hidush? What's the Hidush? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu have to go down to Egypt. That's on the plague, on the firstborn, the last plague. And him himself, instead of sending an angel to do the job, he himself have to do it. What is the Hidush here? Rabotai, what is the Hidush here? Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu have to do it himself? Did you ever ask yourself? HaKadosh Baruch Hu can easily send one of his angels, one of his messenger to do the job. The same, like he sent an angel to Sdom v'Amorah, to turn Sdom v'Amorah to salt and sulfur and fire. So what is the Hidush here in Egypt that HaKadosh Baruch Hu have to do it? Did you ever ask yourself? There is, if I'm not exaggerating, there's dozen, if not more, of answer on that question. I'm going to bring Be'ezrat Hashem 3 or 4 answers just for you, if you want to write it, to explain it on tomorrow night, what happened.
Yeah.
The Zohar HaKadosh, I'm going to start with the Zohar. The Zohar HaKadosh in Parashat Bo, in page 100, and let me look here. I wrote a note. Yeah. Kuf Tet Zayin. My notes tell me that it's 116, folio 1 in Parashat Bo. The Zohar say, you know why Kadosh Baruch Hu didn't send the angel to Egypt? Because Kadosh Baruch Hu was worried that if he sent the angel down to earth, to the land of Eretz Mitzrayim, the angel gonna get contaminated. Why? Because the Zohar and everyone call the land of Egypt Erevat Haaretz, the fruits of the land, the fruitiest. The land of Egypt was full of idols, full of immorality, full of sorcerers, full of magicians, full of all the negativity that there is in the world was in Egypt. Say HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm going to send the angel. That kind of energy that there is in Egypt might going to affect who? The angel. And they wouldn't do the job properly. Okay? He was frightened that the angel going to become part of Egypt. That means get contaminated. Therefore, Kadosh Baruch Hu said, him himself going to go down and he going to kill firstborn. Okay, another explanation that the Mefarshim bring, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu killed every firstborn. Angel can't have the definition who was the firstborn, from which mother, which father. Because in Eretz Mitzrayim, it said, "Vatihi tza'aka gdola," and it was a great shout there that night. Why? Why it was a great shout? So there is different explanation. One of the interpretation that the Egyptian woman was so involved with immorality that they married more than one man. They have at least 5 or 6 men, and they have children from all different men. And when HaKadosh Baruch Hu killed firstborn, and every house supposed to be one, can't be more than one. Suddenly the husband see that there is more than one person that died. There is 6, 7 kids that died. And he couldn't work it out what happened. And suddenly he said, but wait, Moshe Rabbeinu tell us that only the firstborn. That means one of those kids is mine, the rest is not mine. The rest of the kids is from different men. And every husband used to beat their wife. Said the Mefarshim, you know why HaKadosh Baruch Hu needed to go down? Because only HaKadosh Baruch Hu can decide and see and make the definition who's the firstborn child and from which husband. And that was the Hidush. Why HaKadosh Baruch Hu have to go down himself to Egypt and not to send the angel. Another Hidush that I saw that brought by the Gaon Hida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai. Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai, born in Jerusalem 300 years ago. And he says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, before he killed every firstborn in heaven, he needed to humiliate the angel that in charge about the land of Egypt. That means every country have an angel in charge about her. HaKadosh Baruch Hu needed to humiliate that angel in heaven. And not only that, he's the only one that can kill him. No other angel can do that. Said the Mefarshim, therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself needed to go down to where? To Egypt by himself and not to send angel. Why? What was the Hidush? The Hidush here, according to the Gaon Hida, that to humiliate other angel, only HaKadosh Baruch Hu can do that. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu humiliated the angel of Egypt, that's how they expose, HaKadosh Baruch Hu exposed the immorality that was in Egypt. But he didn't kill him. When did he kill him?
We don't see.
On a 7th day, B'Shvi'i Shel Pesach. That was in a splitting of the sea. Yeah. That we'll speak about it, Be'ezrat Hashem, differently about the
that was going to be a
question.
Okay.
So now, what do you learn here? Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu need to go by himself? We brought 3 different ideas. Another idea that the Mefarshim bring, that what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to do in that night? He wanted to kill the firstborn. Listen to that carefully. But there is certain Jewish people that on that day was supposed to end up their life. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send the angel of death, he will kill those that obligated to kill amongst the Jewish people and the firstborn of the Egyptians. The Egyptians say, you see, the plague wasn't only on us, it was also among the Jewish. What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu done? HaKadosh Baruch Hu gone down himself and didn't allow the angel of death to do anything on that day. So him himself done the job and didn't give a permission to the angel of death to harm any Jew. Okay, anyone amongst the Jewish people. So there's 4 different ideas. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu have to go himself with no help to do the job where? In Egypt. Be'ezrat Hashem soon about all the enemy of the Jewish people. Be'ezrat Hashem, please God, soon. Okay, let's continue. Then we know that we have all the plagues. Maybe next year, Be'ezrat Hashem, because we don't have a lot of time, but Be'ezrat Hashem, that I will explain it more in depth, Be'ezrat Hashem, the plagues. But in generally, we have HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought an Egyptian 10 plagues, we know. Why Dafka 10 plagues? There's a secret about it, because each plague is to build, number one, the emunah in the Jewish people. Number two, to conquer what the Egyptians say. For example, in the first plague, HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed that he's in charge about all the liquid. Pharaoh said that he's lehavdil, he's a god, has v'shalom. And he created the Nile. By that HaKadosh Baruch Hu destroy and make the Nile full of blood, that's already showed that HaKadosh Baruch Hu in control of all the liquid in the world. Then whatever there is inside a liquid, that means in a river, in a sea, whatever it was, the frogs, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed that he's in charge about what's growing under the sand, that's the lice. And then come Makat Arov, Dever, Shechin. Each that, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed that he's in charge about the animal. HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed that he's in charge about sickness. Okay, then about boiled on a person. Then what he make that he's in charge also in the heaven, that he can bring hell with water, with fire together, to show that he's in charge about everything in the world. Okay, then Arbe, the flying, that he's in charge about all the flying in the world. Then the Meorot, what it means Meorot, the day and night. HaKadosh Baruch Hu in charge about everything. And finally, HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed that he knows who's the firstborn and who's not the firstborn in every family. Every country try to tell you how many people there is. Ask them to make a statistic, who's the firstborn, they will never know. They will never know. Why? Because they don't have the tools. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu can do that. And then it says something very interesting. Rabbi Yosef Aglili Omer, Jeffrey Rabbi Yosef the Galileite, okay?
Yep.
That's what we're going to speak. Okay? That here we see that Rabbi Yosef Aglili Omer, מאין אתה אומר שלקו המצרים במצרים 10 מכות. Rabbi Yosef Aglili said that the Egyptian got 10 plagues. Okay? But on the sea, they got 50. Then I'm going to jump to Rabbi Akiva, and that's what we have to focus on. רבי עקיבא אומר, מאין שכל מכה שהביא הקדוש ברוך הוא על המצרים, הייתה של 5 מכות שנאמר, וישלח בהם חרון אפו, עברה וזעם, צרה ומשלחת רעים, חרון, אפו, 1, עברה 2, וזעם 3, וצרה 4, משלחת מכה רעים 5, אמור, מעתה לקו 50 מכות על הים, לקו 50 מכות, ועל הים לקו 250 מכות. Just read the last one of Rabbi Akiva.
Rabbi Akiva says, how do we know that every plague that God brought on the Egyptians in Egypt had 5 different parts? Because the Torah describes the plagues by saying, God sent against the Egyptians, 1, his burning anger, 2, rage, 3, annoyance, 4, trouble, and 5, a troop of bad angels. Since each of the 10 plagues in Egypt had 5 parts, it was as if the 10 plagues were 50 plagues, the 10 by the 5 parts, and the 50 plagues at the sea were like 250 plagues. 50 plagues times 5 parts.
What is the Hidush? What? We don't know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought an Egyptian 10 plagues. Why is the sages here that we see that amongst the sages there is this kind of idea? Rabbi Yossi Aglili, Rabbi Yossi the Galileite say that they got 50, plagues on the sea.
Yeah.
Rabbi Eliezer say, that they got 200. Come Rabbi Akiva, and he was the most mahmir. He said that they received 250 plagues on the sea. Why? What is the Hidush? What is the Hidush that they try to erase the number of plagues that the Egyptian got? Did you ever ask yourself that question? What is the Hidush that's standing behind it? Said the Mefarshim something extraordinary. The Mefarshim say, Rabotai, something extraordinary. That here the sages knew that these certain plagues, and if the Jewish people in the future are going to sin, they wanted to try to avoid as many plagues that the Jewish people not going to get, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised whatever plagues he brought on an Egyptian, he will never bring on a Jewish people. So each one of the sages tried to raise the number to have less chance that the Jewish people will suffer from those plagues if they sin. Said the Mefarshim, come and let me explain to you the Hidush. The Hidush here, that each one of the sages tried to save from the nation, from our nation, to receive less plagues. Why? Because if they receive 250 plagues like Rabbi Akiva said, those 250 plagues can never, ever appear on a Jewish people. And that was the Hidush. That's why that you see amongst the sages, there is a mahloket, and each one of them tried to raise the number of plagues. And now we can understand what was behind our sages, that they look for the future. Beautiful. To try to avoid the Jewish people from suffering from any plagues, that the Egyptian plagues. So if we say that they received 250 plagues, what is those plagues? As the sages tell us, the Jewish people are not going to suffer from it. That's the Hiddush. Okay. After that, the Hagadah speak, and I'm going to jump quite a bit because we are running quite late, and I would like to speak about what Rabban Gamliel say. Rabban Gamliel, Jeffrey, we're going to speak about Rabban Gamliel. Rabban Gamliel said that you have to say Pesach, Matzah, Umaror. Just jump to that place.
Yeah.
Tell me if you find it. Pesach, Matzah, Umaror. Can you see it?
I saw the Maror. Yes, this here.
Pesach, Matzah, Umaror. Pesach, Matzah, Umaror. Rabban Gamliel היה אומר. Rabban Gamliel used to say, whoever didn't say those three things in Pesach, okay? לא יצא ידי חובתו. ואלו הם. פסח, מצה ומרור.
Sure, I can't find it. I know we're here, but I'm trying to.
Go forward. It's quite forward.
Why do we matzah for the maror? It's on the maror. Hang on. Well, so it says why do it doesn't? I don't see Rabbi Gamliel's name.
Rabban Gamliel.
Yes, I'm just trying to find it. I've gone because that's when we have the maror. I've gone too far, have I?
It's after Dayenu. You know, after Dayenu.
Oh, okay.
After Dayenu, straight after Dayenu, you've gone to maror. Before that, there is Pesach and there is Matzah. Okay, go to that. Rabban Gamliel say after Dayenu.
One second.
Can you see it?
No, wait a minute. But is that after Hallel?
No, before. It's one. 1 page or 2 pages straight after
Yeah,
what we read.
I'm looking at the. I'm actually looking at the more. Just a reminder of what Hillel used to say. I mean, this is the Korah, and then
That's before that, a lot
it's
before
before.
that.
Yes, I'm just thinking. I don't see Rabbi Gamliel's name. That's why I'm. That's the.
Okay, so
Sorry,
I'll read
Ross.
it in English. No problem.
Sorry.
רבן גמליאל היה אומר, כל מי שלא אמר 3 דברים אלו בפסח לא יצא ידי חובתו ואלו הם. Rabban Gamliel used to say, whoever didn't mention those 3 words in Pesach didn't fulfill the mitzvah of Pesach. And what they are? Pesach, matzah,
Yes,
and
matzah and
maror.
maror. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to understand, first of all, what is Pesach? What is matzah? So on a pshat of the dvarim, we know that Pesach speaking about the Korban Pesach, the lamb. Korban Pesach is the offering of the Pesach offering. What it was the lamb that they tied to their bed, the lamb that they used to worship, the Egyptian. But who also worship it? Bnei Israel. Akadosh Baruch Hu told the children of Israel on a 10 of Nisan, you're going to take the lamb. What you're going to do with that? You're going to tie it to your bed. And on a 14, you're going to sacrifice it. And you're going to do Pesach. That means that by midnight you have to finish to eat it. You have to finish to eat the lamb, dafka in midnight. Why dafka in midnight? Because the starlight of the month of Nisan is lamb. Okay? What is the Hidush? The Egyptian believe that the lamb is one of their gods. They convinced the Jewish people, and some of the Jewish people used to worship the lamb. Akadosh Baruch Hu come and say, in the middle of the month, when the moon is full, you can't tell me at the beginning of the month, it just started the month, he did this lamb that they call it God didn't have any energy. In the middle of the month, when it's full moon, when it's full power, I'm going to come and not me going to slaughter him. Those that you convince that is God, my children, they're going to slaughter them. And what they're going to do with that, not only that they're going to slaughter that lamb, they're going to take the blood of the lamb, the blood of the Brit Milah, they're going to mix it together, and they're going to put it on a post door. That when I'm going to come on a plague of the firstborn, I can see the difference. What it means to see the difference? Hakadosh Baruch Hu knew exactly. The Hidush here, that he wanted to see the mitzvah of the Brit Milah. Because when the Jewish people was in Egypt, they didn't done Brit Milah. He wanted to see which Jewish person not going to do Brit Milah. And all of them done Brit Milah. And that's the Hidush. Sure. Until here, we understand. Okay. Now, we have to understand the Torah tells us that Pesach, okay, that lamb, the festival of Pesach, we have to eat it as on a spit, on a braai, okay? We're not allowed to cook it. Not only that, there's another question. You're not allowed to break a bones. ולא תשברו בו עצם. Tzli. You have to eat it tzli. What it means? That you have to roast it. You're not allowed to cook it. You're not allowed to boil it, to make it so. No, I want you to eat it tzali. What is the Hidush? And why not to break a bone? Okay. So there is different idea here, Rabotai. It's not what we think it. There is here something that we have to understand. The children of Israel, when they was in Egypt, they was poor. We have to understand that. They hardly have food to eat. Okay? And that's what we're going to speak about in the matzah right now, just now.
Right.
What is the Hidush here? Said the Sefer HaChinuch. Sefer HaChinuch been written by Rabbi Levy. Rabbi Levy born in the city of Gorondia. When I searched today, I saw that some people say that he born in Barcelona. It's not sure. He born in the 13th century, and it was according to the Common Era in 1235, according to the Common Era in the 13th century. In Mitzvah, in his book Sefer HaChinuch, Mitzvah 7 and Mitzvah Tetzain, okay, that's 16, he says something very interesting. He say, rich people eat meat. The rich people, what food they eat? They eat meat. They don't touch the bone. They're not interested about the bone. They want the meat. He said the Jewish people were so poor that they didn't have meat. What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to implant on them? Beside to conquer from them the Avodah Zarah, that they're not poor. And that's what was the first plague that he brought, blood, to make them rich. So in Korban Pesach, he wanted to show them they're like rich people, that they will eat meat, and they don't have to eat also the bone. Okay? Because if you boil it, the bone becomes so soft. Some people love to eat bone. Say, no, you're not going to eat bone. Because a poor person eats a small piece of the meat, if he have, and he enjoy the bones that there is there. He said, no, you're going to behave not like rich people, not anymore like poor people. You're not slave anymore. I'm building the self-confidence on you. What am I doing? You have to eat it roasted. You have to roast the meat. Not only that, you're not allowed to break the bone. Why? That everyone will see that what you cooked is a lamb. No one can deny the shape of the lamb. A dough that you're going to cut, still the shape of the lamb going to be. Said the Zohar HaKadosh. Why is that? The Zohar HaKadosh is saying that everyone will see that what you eaten is the lamb that they believe is God. And you, Bnei Israel, going to realize that you believe in idol worshipping that you was worshipping. To conquer the Avodah Zarah from Israel, but to embarrass the Egyptian. How? Listen to that. The Zohar HaKadosh is saying that after the Bnei Israel finished to eat the Korban Pesach, what happened? The dog came. And the Egyptian was no worse animal than a dog. What did they do? They dragged the bones of the lamb all over Egypt to show that their God that they believe have no energy, have no power. That means that it's absolutely Bubamaisis to show the entire Egyptian people that what they worship, Gurnish mit Gurnisht. And now we can understand why we say Pesach. But then come matzah. Matzah. Okay. The matzah that we eat. What is the hidush of the matzah? Why that we say matzah? So we name matzah, it's the unleavened bread. And we have to understand that here there is something very important. It's to show that the Jewish people, although that they don't understand the depths of the matzah, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to speak about the virtue of the matzah just now. I'm going to try to explain. It's to tell you that although that we don't understand, we're still keeping and eating matzah. Who's that referring to? The Chacham. Chacham say, Ma avodah zot lachem. I don't understand maybe what is matzah, but I'm still going to eat it. But after I'm going to finish to eat, I'm going to ask the question. First of all, we'll do na'aseh. And then nishma. Then I'm going to ask, why am I eating matzah? What is the hidush about the matzah? We know that the matzah been done by the Jewish people because they didn't have time to wait. So they done unleavened bread. And that's, now I'm going to go right to the beginning. Halachmania. How's the Hagadah start? With Aramaic. Halachmania. That's the unleavened bread that our fathers eat in Egypt. But they didn't eat in Egypt. It's not true. Because that unleavened bread they prepare for the journey to the wilderness. Yeah. So how can you say that they eaten it in Egypt? That's Shaila been asked in a book that's called Markevot Argaman, okay? By I forgot the name of the rabbi. And he asked that question, how can it be? How can it be? He explained like that Egypt wasn't a small country. It was a big country, Egypt. When the Jewish people start to go to journey, some of them was hungry, the kids, the wife, some of the men. They eaten from the matzah there. So that's why they say that's the unleavened that bread that we eaten there in Egypt. But that unleavened bread, it was mainly for the journey. But some of the Bnei Israel that obviously was hungry, eaten from the matzah in Egypt. And there's no contradiction to that. Why dafka matzah? Chazal say matzah, you eat and it makes you full. People don't want to eat too much of it. Why? Because we know some people suffer from it. So say the Gaon Hida, listen to that. That he was not the Gaon Hida, sorry. Rabbi Avraham Ibn Ezra. Rabbi Avraham Ibn Ezra, born in Toledo, in Spain. He born 935 years ago, plus minus. And he said like this, that he traveled through many countries, and when he was in Egypt, he saw that those that used to sit in jail, they used to give him matzah, unleavened bread. Why? That they're not going to eat a lot. Look how horrible they are. They didn't give him proper bread, those prisoners that used to sit in jail. He said, that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell us to eat it, to remind us the suffering that the children of Israel had in Egypt. Now about the virtue of matzah. Many people say, I don't eat matzah, I'm suffering. Okay? But Hazal tell us that the person that eats matzah on the first night of Pesach, in South Africa we have 2 nights, he eat it with joy and happening. It's a remedy for protection from all different problems that come into the world, and not only that, from all different sickness. And I'm going to explain it now. Rav Avraham Hamawi, he born in Syria around 186 years ago. He wrote a book, Beta Behira. And in his book about Pesach, he wrote about the virtue of the matzah. Now let me read you. האוכל מצה בפסח בשמחה, ניצול משבעה דברים. A person that eats matzah with joy and happiness on Pesach, okay, he gets saved from all different things. מכל מיני צרות, from all different problems. זוכה לעולם הבא, he married for the world to come. לרפואה, it's good for health. If people want רפואה שלמה, to eat matzah on Pesach. מצילה מסטרה אחרא. What it means, sitra ahra? Sitra ahra is in Aramaic. Usually the Mekubalim use it. Is the other forces, the negative forces. That's what it means. Okay? That the evil inclination can't entice him. Mitzila mitvi'a bayam. A person that eats matzah, it's a remedy that he will never drown in the sea. Not only that, Akadosh Baruch Hu korea gzar dino beRosh Hashanah. When it's come to Rosh Hashanah, to decide, Akadosh Baruch Hu tear his judgment if he eat matzah on Pesach. Not only that, there is a guarantee that the person that eat matzah on Pesach, listen to that, Rabotai, no harm will happen to him. Lo yiznazeh kol hashana kula. No harm gonna happen to him. After you hear all of that, wouldn't you eat matzah on Pesach? Because there's many people say, listen, given all different nicknames that I don't want to mention, you can't call a matzah. The Zohar called the matzah lechem harefuah, the bread of health. What does it mean? That in a matzah that we eat on Pesach, it's a remedy to all our health that we need all year round, if we eat it with joy and happiness. Not only that, why do we eat matzah? Why dafka matzah? And the hametz we burn, like we done tonight. We done bedikat hametz. We bi'arno et hametz. We didn't burn it, we done the bedika. What is the hidush here? Tomorrow we're going to burn it. The hidush here that it's come to teach us a self-control. Once a year, for 7 days, we're refraining from eating hametz. We're eating only matzah. Why, Dafka? To teach us a self-control that we can overcome all our desire, to control our desire, to tell ourselves, listen, I'm still in control. I don't follow after my desire. Whatever the desire is. Some people love to eat. Some people love to drink. Some people love to gamble. Whatever the case is, I'm just throwing names. It's come to teach you that Pesach come to teach you self-control. 1 week a year, I want you to be in control of yourself. And that's the Hidush here. To teach each one of us that we can control our desire. And that's why we have to say, Pesach, Matzah, Umaror. Okay, Rabotai, the time is running. It's over the time that I planned. I'm gonna skip, if you don't mind, with your permission. And then we say after that we do Netilat Yadayim again, okay? And but before we do the Netilat Yadayim, before we do the Netilat Yadayim, we doing a brocha. The Ashkenazim do a brocha, the Sfaradim doesn't do a brocha, and we drink the cup of wine, the second cup of wine. What is the Hidush here? What is the Hidush, all of those 4 cups of wine? The Hidush here, that when we're doing a Kiddush, okay, we actually trying to sing to Akadosh Baruch Hu. Who am I sitting and eating with? With Akadosh Baruch Hu. Imagine for a second, lahavdil, 100 million times, that's going to come a president, a very important person, to join to your table. Who are you lifting up the cup and you cheering with? With the Creator. So when we do that, when we drink every cup of wine, when we do the Kiddush, remember, I'm sitting and I'm sanctifying with the Creator of the world. He's with me on a table. And that's who I'm doing Kiddush with. That's who I'm doing cheers with. Imagine if a king comes to you. Oh, what a table, what a wine. Here's the Creator. And that's what we have to celebrate in Pesach. The Almighty that took us out of slavery and made us a nation. After He made us a nation, He given us the Holy Torah. And that's why in the end we say the Hallel. to thank Hakadosh Baruch Hu that he made us who we are, that he took us as slave and he made us free people. After he made us free people, he given us his Torah. He made us a nation. He made us the chosen nation. And whenever we lift up the cups to drink, instead of saying, I'm sick and tired of drinking, just try to understand, who are you cheering up with? Who you sanctifies with? Who's on your table? Melech Malchei HaMelachim. And when we're sitting there, my daughter, as I mentioned to you, look now, just now in a group, my daughter make a chair and she put a picture and she prepared a place for all those 135 people that have been kidnapped, that missing. We have to remember to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu in that holy night, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make miracle the same like he made to our fathers in Egypt. Nothing going to stop him to do that miracle. We just have to ask. We just have to do the step forward, the first step, and then he'll do the rest. But the most important, Rabotai, to ask for Mashiach now. We want the Mashiach now enough to all of our souls. And Be'ezrat Hashem, I would like to take the opportunity to wish each one of you individually, personally, Hag, Kasher, V'Sameach to all of you, to your family, to all the Jewish people all over the world. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that we will see the same miracle that happened on the 15th of Nisan, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will do to us. Amen, Ken Yeratzon. If there is any question, Bechavod, now it's the time to ask question. Bechavod. Please unmute your microphone.
I'll start, Rav.
Bechavod, Ken? Bechavod, Bechavod.
We explained very well about Lavan and how he tried to destroy the whole people. But aren't we given the clue that Yaakov had to actually run away with his wives to get out where he is? Because Lavan, as he said later, came on them and said, "You've taken my grandchildren." Now, if he would have taken those grandchildren, there never would have been a nation.
But what's the hidush? Why did Yaakov Avinu didn't run before? Why did he run? If you look, after Binyamin was born, after Yosef born, Reuven, Shimon, Levy, Yehuda, no, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Naphtali, who you still there? Yosef born, now I'm leaving Lavan. What is the hidush? No. You ask a very valid question. Why did he escape now? Because Yosef only can fight with Esav. Until Yosef born, no one can fight with Esav from Bnei Israel, from the children of Israel. One that Yosef born, he can fight with him. And then who born after that? After we finish with Esav? Binyamin.
Yeah.
Why Dafka Binyamin? Because Binyamin can fight with who? With Amalek. Because Binyamin never bowed down to Esav. Yosef did bow down with his family to Esav. Binyamin never. From Esav came, who came from Esav? Amalek. Nahon? But Binyamin wasn't there yet. He didn't born. When Binyamin born, he can fight now with Amalek. Then come Malchut Madai. Then come Hagad. Binyamin, who was from his descendants? King Saul. He didn't finish the job. Who needed to finish the job? Mordechai. Mordechai was from descendants of Binyamin. You understand? Binyamin never bowed down to Haman. Binyamin never bowed down to who? To Esav.
Yes.
Esav came, Amalek. Who didn't bow down to Amalek?
Benjamin.
Mordechai. The same like Binyamin never bowed down to who? To Esav. That means that everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu done, it's all planned. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he bring in different souls to the world, they all have a job. Each one of us have a job in this world. You follow?
Yes.
Jeffrey?
Yes.
It's a bit depth, but we can understand.
Very deep.
Was first Yosef born, he can fight with Esav. But Esav have Amalek. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, no problem. I'll bring you Binyamin. Binyamin can fight with him. Mordechai Yehudi from the descendants of Binyamin. That's why I never bowed down to Amalek, to Haman. And he brought him down. You understand the Hidush?
Yes, it is. It's continuous.
It's never stopped.
Continuous.
Yeah.
Sure.
And now we have different Amalek in our generation.
Yeah.
You see, we have to fight him. And Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought a bit of sense to the Prime Minister and his advisors to fight Amalek. It's not an easy war, but we have to fight that war.
Yeah.
In our generation. שבכל דור ודור עומדים עלינו לכלותנו. In every generation there is a different person. And that's why Esther המלכה said in the Megillah, Haman הרשע הזה. This Haman. And that time, now, in גלות מדע, it's Haman. Come the Hagadah and tell us שבכל דור ודור. In every generation there is different Haman. There is different Amalek that try to destroy us. You follow what I'm saying? How is it connected? How you can connect the Megillat Esther to the Hagadah?
Everything's connected. Yeah, scary. Just one small point. It was a big point you made, which was very good. Where the Meshroshim asked, it mentions that the matzah you ate in Mitzrayim, and you gave the expression that people. It's a big country, and perhaps some of them on the way ate some matzah and what have you. But if you remember, Lot, even years ago, we're having matzah. He was eating matzah at Sdom when the angels came. So there was a time, there was a specific time, or that people were eating matzah. So they must have it must have continued.
Matzah wasn't new. Matzah wasn't new for the children of Israel. Why? Ask me why.
Because we always suffered.
Not only because we suffered, we didn't have time. The Jewish people was in slavery. After they come from slavery, the Egyptian used to take them to take their animal for a walk, to take their kids for a walk.
Yeah.
So they didn't have time. They used to make them light their candles and to stand like a candlestick. That's what we explained came Makat Hoshek in previous year. What was the Hidushia? That they have to do everything quickly. They hardly even eaten. So the food that they used to have everything like unleavened. You understand?
Yeah.
You understand the Hidush?
Yes.
So matzah wasn't something new for the children of Israel. You follow?
Yeah.
You understand the Hidush here?
Yes. So it answered that question, but another answer. You said there's 12 answers to the question. I mean, many answers.
At least 12, if not more.
Right. Those are two.
You follow what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, exactly. Sure.
It's we can connect. Be'ezrat Hashem, if you remind me, maybe on Hol HaMoed, if we have time, I don't know if we're going to have a lot of time this year, Hol HaMoed, but maybe I should do Hagadah, the song of Hagadah.
Very good.
I'm sure that I've done it before, a few years back, but maybe we should do Hagadah to understand, because on Leila Seder, tomorrow night and Tuesday night, we're going to sing Hagadah. What's hiding behind that song? That it's so important. It doesn't make sense, that song, but what's hiding behind? Be'ezrat Hashem will do Hagadah. Bli neder. I hope that you enjoyed the ideas about the Hagadah. There's many more to explain, to explore about, but make the notes, and Be'ezrat Hashem share with your family tomorrow night and on Tuesday night. Be'ezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send us Mashiach Tzidkenu, and then we don't have to do Pesach anymore, because כאמת צאתך מארץ מצרים הראינו נפלאות, because the miracle that HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to do in the last redemption, when the Mashiach comes, going to be 50 times more. And that's why we don't have to celebrate and to speak about Pesach, because the new miracle of the new redemption going to be 50 times more. So the miracle of the Exodus of Egypt going to be nothing compared to the new Exodus that we'll see speedily in our day. Amen. I would like to wish each one of you individually, first of all, thank you for joining us. Number two, to wish each one of you individually Hag Kasher V'Sameach to you and to your family, and we should see Mashiach, Amen, Ken Yeh Ratzon, speedily in our day, in our time, in our life, and please God, it's going to happen this Pesach. Amen, Ken Yeh Ratzon. Everyone, have a good night. Thank you for joining us. Wishing you all a beautiful, beautiful festival of Pesach. Hag Kasher V'Sameach. Good night. Thank you for joining us.